Let's move on. So I guess I'll start with the Brett Weinstein clip. I remember at the beginning of the episode, I was like, in a little bit, I'm going to play a clip. Now it's almost an hour. So yeah, I've been joking about how YouTube keeps shoving his podcast into my video queue. That sounded dirty. It was one of those times where, the video just started playing and I decided, what the hell, I'll just let it play in the background. And about 50 minutes in, all of a sudden he starts talking about Dave Rubin, and it wasn't very flattering. Trouble in paradise, perhaps. And so I told the story numerous times on the show. So just a quick recap. I remember Dave Rubin back when he was on TYT. It was around that time where I felt like TYT was taking that weird kind of overly politically correct approach to stories having to do with Islam. And it seems like it was this kind of political correctness that spurred Rubin to leave TYT. And I was like, hey, I get it. I hope he does well with his new show. I'll definitely be watching, And then Rubin just kept shifting further and further right, teaming up with PragerU, etc. And if you weren't aware, Dave Rubin is openly gay and married to a man. Well, it would be kind of weird if he was openly gay and married to a woman. Anyway, so he's shifted so far right that a lot of his guests and the people he rubs shoulders with are people who only believe in quote-unquote traditional marriage. And there have been some really awkward moments. Like I remember he had Ben Shapiro on, and Ben was just matter-of-factly, going on about how he wouldn't go to something like a gay wedding or an anniversary party for Dave and his husband, something to that effect. And Dave just sitting there awkward, and defeated, dying inside. What does it benefit Dave Rubin to gain the whole world if he loses his soul in the process? But I have to admit, I did experience a little schadenfreude when Brett Weinstein called out Rubin. And I think the context was Weinstein was using Rubin as an example of a kind of echo chamber effect. But here's the clip.
I've been shocked at the proclivity of so many of my friends to subscribe wholeheartedly to the woke mentality. Do you think intellect and attention to detail has anything to do with the political choices people make?
So this is one of these things I often reference that Eric once said to me. In fact, I think I've called it the smartest thing anyone ever said, which was, truth is the second best strategy. And by that, he meant that social affiliation, that is to say, signing on to what the group that has power wants you to say in order that it will share its power with you, is often a much better strategy than truth. So what it is that I think is going on with those who don't sign up with this, it's one of two things. Either they have correctly realized that they could get somewhere in the short term by signing on, but that they will ultimately be confronted by this thing in the end, so it's not a good deal. Or they are sticklers for the truth. And the fact is, I think all of us sticklers for the truth are, I don't want to call us broken, but we do not have the circuit that allows you to just simply socially affiliate no matter what kind of nonsense it forces to come out of your mouth, right? Some people do. And the fact that they say some crazy thing and everybody cheers assures them that it must be right. Mm-hmm. So anyway, this can happen all over the place. There's some danger, in the case of Dave Rubin, for example, that he's hearing, the cheers of a bunch of people who are all concentrated in one mindset, and he thinks that what he's saying is making sense, and in fact, it seems to be making less sense over time as he's moving closer to a group that is united behind ideas that are not robust.
Closer to a different ideology than one that he formerly ascribed to, but seems to be a jump from ideology to ideology rather than to more first principles thinking.
Yeah. And, I've seen him of late attack Chloe.
Yeah.
He's attacked Josephine Matthias. Mm-hmm. There's no reason. We know both of these people. Incredibly decent, incredibly bright, incredibly insightful, and frankly open to other perspectives. Both of them have that characteristic in spades. So why, on what basis could you possibly attack them? Well, to the extent that he has now moved in the direction of an ideology that can't abide voices like theirs, he now can't even hear what they're saying.
So I think, damn, So I think even they realize that Dave Rubin is kind of this empty suit who signed himself over to, an ideology that would bring him success or whatever. But now he's kind of in over his head and trying to stay afloat. Not stay afloat monetarily. We don't have to worry about Dave in that regard. I just looked it up. He has a net worth of $5 million. For some reason, I thought it would be more, but damn, $5 million. I'm sure that's more than I'll ever see in my lifetime. You know what I mean? But trying to stay afloat in the sense that he is kind of in over his head intellectually and probably in other ways too, and he's trying to navigate these choppy seas and keep the grift going.